Hello, it's James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my content, and welcome back to Heads Will Roll Reforged, where we're excitedly going through the game in hopes to maybe see some of the new content that's been brought about by the latest, Threads of Destiny DLC? So we'll see if we run into any of that anytime soon. Probably not anytime soon, but anyway. We are on the Siege of Cambrai. So basically, let's just jump in and get this party started, shall we? I'm gonna go to train. Looks like I'm tired, so actually the first thing that I'm gonna do is do some resting. Gonna gamble a little bit. I'm gonna work at the forge, as I want to get the blacksmith stuff knocked out. So nice job, thanks for the help. See, job's easy and money's good. Piece of cake. Come visit me again if you've got nothing to do. There's always work to be done. EXP for completing the quest plus 20. I'll consider it, so what about repairing my equipment? Yeah, I almost forgot. Alright, give it here, your junk, but money first. These are horrible times we live in, and a soul around you can trust, especially when it comes to scrawny ragamuffins like you. I'm not a scrawny ragamuffin? Is that so? Well, Hoggard's not a ragamuffin either, and yet he still refused to pay. Huh? About 2 weeks back, that drunkard parody of a knight commissioned me to get him a chest, for spoils and trophies. Since then, he's been constantly pushing me to get it done faster. Even tried giving me advice. And guess what? Finally, I get the damn thing done, and the fellow refuses to pay. Well, how much is it? How much did Hogger promise you for the chest? We settled on 60 florins, but given the circumstances, I'd happily part with it for even half that amount. The chest will act as your secondary inventory, which can be accessed from the main inventory when you're in camp. You can freely transfer any items between the two. Yeah, I'll buy the chest. You're serious? Well, great then. You can have it. 30 florins. And now I have a chest. Am I gonna do this? Yes. If you got any work for me, I'd be ready to help out. I need some money. I've always got work. As long as you're not a clumsy dork. I'm not a clumsy dork. Do you know what all clumsy dorks have in common? They all believe they're not. What on earth are you even on about? Didn't I just recently help you at the forge? I don't recall you having a single complaint. That work was a piece of cake. Anyone can do that. If you want to earn some proper cash, you've got to step up your game, son. Start using not only the hands, but also that tiny head of yours, which proves to be too hard for some people. If you're not up for some real work, then head to the forge and run some errands. But if you're ready, let me know. There's some real money to be made. I'm ready. I like your confidence. Well then, listen here. I've got a highly specific order. The customer wants combined armor. A leather jacket with a chainmail overlay. He wants it to be sturdy. Torso armor no lower than 10, and torso cover no lower than 90. Limbs also should be well protected. Limb armor no lower than 6, and limb cover no lower than 30. Finally, it has to look nice. 7 or more prestige. If you can craft one, I'll buy it from you for whatever it's worth, plus an additional 70 florins as compensation for your efforts. In the crafting menu, you can combine different types of armor, blah blah, and blah 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 blah. The results will influence your craftsmanship skill, etc., etc. Items produced through crafting cannot be combined for a second time. Okay. Alright, now then, what's going on here? I don't have a new civic talent. Why don't I have a new civic talent? I'm confused. You usually get a new civic talent every time you start on a new chapter. They haven't given me a new civic talent. I have a feeling they've done some tweaks to the game. I'm not sure what I think of this tweak, but I will ignore it for now. Maybe I'm just misremembering things. Chest. This commoner's belt could actually be useful. The leather armor might be suitable for combining with a piece of chainmail if I can get a hold of a piece of chainmail. To accomplish that that order. In the meantime, I can sell off this junk here. I'm gonna buy out the leather. I'm gonna go to crafting. Get a canteen made. Another canteen. Another water skin. Okay, canteen and healing herb is medicine. Canteen, healing herb, more medicine. Water skin plus medicine is potent medicine. Inventory. We're gonna unequip the water skin. Gonna go back to crafting. Use the water skin and the medicine to make another potent medicine. Alright, so that's crafting for now, knocked out of the way. Now I'm gonna go into training, and I am going to train with a coach. I had to train with a coach because I don't have the reputation to do sparring yet. Any soldier knows very well that one should always stay away from the authorities, and now you fully realize the truth of those words. Having accidentally caught the Earl's eye on one of the days, you immediately get called to him to receive a responsible task. The Earl says he is currently actively working on plans to infiltrate the besieged city, but the shortage of good alcohol in the camp is a serious threat to his strategic genius. When you timely try to note that the army stocks are full of wine and ale, the Earl immediately silences you, stating that he's not going to drink this swill, and he needs something of substantially higher quality. A good place to look for this something, in his opinion, would be the farmsteads of the local nobility that have not yet been plundered. There in the cellars is supposed to be a supply of excellent wine. The whole thing, of course, should be done as quietly as possible, and without attracting too much attention. You are not enthusiastic about this assignment, but it is what it is. It's not like someone's giving you a choice. So I'm an errand boy. I have to go and find some wine for the Earl. Meantime, we're going to rest up. Okay, and we're going to go back. We're going to go to Quest and Travel. We're going to head over to the De Lambert Estate. This is where we're looking for the wine for the good Earl. The Earl's orders leads you to the Estate de Lambert, one of the few places around Cambrai that is definitely not threatened by marauders and foragers. The estate is a group of fortified buildings in the rolling hills to the northwest of the city. Despite the fact that it is not a full-fledged castle, the estate still looks very solid, for the most part, thanks to the imposing moat surrounding it, as well as a short but thick walls. At the entrance to the drawbridge, you are stopped by the crossbowman standing on the wall, asking what the hell you need here. Yeah, what do you actually want here? The question kind of catches you by surprise. Quickly going over the answer options in your head, you decide what to say to the guard. Tell that you're here on the assignment from the Earl of Northampton. Trying your best to be as convincing as possible, you declare that you have arrived here on a confidential matter personally commissioned by His Excellency Earl of Hampton, the first of the Lords of Central England. However, judging by the sour face of the crossbowmen, their knowledge of the hierarchy of the English nobility is rather poor, and they clearly do not fully understand the significance of your mission. Seeing that the matter is obviously reaching a dead end, you try to explain in a nutshell who exactly is the Earl and why he, and therefore you, are a very important person, demanding a lot of respect. This time, your words had greater effect, and judging by the somewhat perked-up faces of the guards, they begin to be imbued with some kind of respect for your now common good friend Earl. So much so that one of the crossbowmen unexpectedly offers to make the Earl a small gift from the De Lambert family, as well as personally from himself. A gift in the form of a crossbow bolt between the eyes. The guard states that he is ready to personally present it to the Earl if he decides to come here. Or what is even more convenient, he continues, you, as a full-fledged confidant of such an important person, should be able to pass him the gift. With these words, the guard begins to load the crossbow. Belatedly realizing that you are very much in trouble, you tried to dissuade him from giving you the gift. But the hospitable Frenchman clearly insists. The moment he picks up the crossbow and aims it at you, you still partly hope that the situation will somehow be resolved. But that's not what happens. Luck fail. The whistle of a crossbow bolt cuts through the air, and before you can understand anything, you are already on the ground, and a sharp pain fills your chest. Having come to your senses a little, you realize that, as if by a miracle, you were saved by your armor. A light crossbow bolt could not pierce it. Your internal organs are intact, but you obviously got a heavy bruise. Fatigue level has increased. However, you are far from being safe yet, as looking up, you notice that the guard is loading a second bolt into the crossbow. Sprawled in the road dust, you have nowhere to run, and the second shot has a very real chance of becoming fatal. However, you end up quite lucky, as someone calls off the guard. A few seconds later, a young girl appears on the wall next to the crossbowmen, rudely reprimanding them for their arbitrariness. Carefully inspecting the unexpected guest laying at the side of the road, she gives the order to help you and immediately lets you through the gate. Well, first of all, I think I should apologize for the reception my people almost gave you. However, given the intentions with which you and your friends arrived in my homeland, you should hardly be surprised at how you were greeted. I'll respond in a cool manner. This war was started by kings and lords. I'm just a soldier and only following the orders. I am ready to swear to you that I have not killed and will not kill women, children, and the unarmed, for God is my witness, I do not thirst for blood. However, duty is duty. My honor obliged me to take part in my overlord's campaign, and I will have to shed blood to avoid disgrace, even against my will. Forgive me for my harshness. I understand that you ended up so far from home and with weapons in your hands, not by your own will, and I can see that you are clearly a worthy person. Relationship with Ava has improved by 5, and my virtue has improved by 5. My name is Ava de Lambert. I am the daughter of Count Guillaume de Lambert, Guardian of Flanders. When the news of the arrival of the English army came, my father went to Paris to help King John form the army, and left his governor in Cambrai under a promise that the city would not be surrendered. Well, in his absence, I have become the mistress and protector of the family estate and its inhabitants. So what brought you here? Well, I'll tell you about the Earl's assignment frankly. So as I said, I'm here on a very serious matter. My boss, how can I put it? He's going through an acute existential crisis, and only a couple bottles of excellent wine can help him to cope with it. Huh? And this is your important assignment? I thought I acted as a hostess to a high-ranking messenger in my house, not a street beggar. But so be it. As a sign of my goodwill, I'm ready to share the contents of the Chateau de Lambert wine cellars, but only on one condition. I want you to promise that my family's lands and villages around Cambrai will not be plundered, and nothing will happen to their inhabitants. Knowing that my father is responsible for the defense of the city, I can say with confidence that you are stuck here for a long time, so sooner or later the English king will start sending foragers around the neighborhood. Promise me that you will stand up for my people. Well, I can promise that I'll stand up for your people, but I don't have a whole lot of ability to change what happens if people are sent to your estate. I'm just a paltry peasant here, but I can promise that I won't do anything bad by my hand. I promise. I will do everything in my power to protect them, and if I have to, I will give my life. I trust you, thanks. We barely know each other, but somehow I feel like I can trust you, as if you have something noble in you. My relationship with Ava has improved by 10 points. Well, in that case, I'll be true to my word too. The contents of the De Lambert estate wine cellars are at your disposal. I dare to hope that my generosity will serve as a reminder of this conversation to you and your lord, and you will not commit rash acts that could stain your hands and honor with blood. I will be glad to see you as my guest again, and not necessarily on someone else's errands. New travel destination added the De Lambert estate. You return to camp. Your return to camp is uneventful. Alright, so now I got a rest from my crossbow hit. Okay, and we're gonna try to do a little bit of training. Not that much, though. I want to get some other stuff done. According to the king's plan, the success of the upcoming assault will be ensured by several dozen different siege machines, trebuchets, catapults, siege towers, and battering rams. Their construction obviously requires not only time, but also a large amount of effort, and therefore many soldiers are involved in this work every day. This fate does not pass by you either. I'm going to choose a rough physical job. For several days in a row, you do tedious and hard work. Many soldiers struggle with grueling work. Thanks to excellent physical strength, you manage not only to fulfill your duties, but also regularly help your comrades. Strength check passed. As a result, you begin to notice that people look at you with more respect, and your authority among the soldiers is clearly growing. Reputation has increased by 5. Alright, and I almost forgot. I need to go talk to that damn Earl and give him his damn wine. I got what you asked here for. Here are several bottles of excellent French wine from one of the local chateaus. Great job, my boy. I saw you for the second time in my life, but for some reason I felt that I could definitely rely on you. And as you can see, I was not mistaken. Reputation with the Earl has increased by 10. I'll be honest, I hate fools who cannot be entrusted with anything at all. But, as it usually turns out, these fools make up the majority around here. It's nice to see that you've got a head on your shoulders, and I will remember you in case I suddenly need a reliable person. And this is for your work, 35 florins. Now, piss off. And I got some EXP for completing the quest. I don't know what this EXP is about. You never used to get EXP before. I have no idea what the EXP is. Okay, back. Now we're going to stop by and have a talk with the doctor. Well, 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 who do we have here? It's the terror of the French himself. You don't have to say anything. I've already been told about your achievements. If not for you and the other brave men, the young prince would have been grabbed by the Frenchies. You are now basically a hero. I'm not going to lie, I was somewhat skeptical about you when we first met, but now I see that I was clearly wrong. But fortunately for you, I am always willing to own up to my mistakes. Your relationship with Cecilia has improved by 15. And I must admit that I'm glad to see you safe and sound. Just don't take it the wrong way. Alright, you come in and catch Cecilia doing something very strange. She walks back and forth from one chest to another, muttering something under her breath and clearly not knowing what to do. I think I'm going insane. What's the matter? My things have started to disappear over the past few days. Things? Medicine. I've never been a particularly observant person when it comes to these things, and at first I blamed everything on my own forgetfulness, or thought it was just an accident. But the level it has reached is not funny anymore. When things disappear without a trace on such a large scale, the matter can no longer be attributed to simple forgetfulness. I'm afraid I have to ask for your help. Anything you want. I'm pretty sure someone is just stealing from my stock. I usually notice the loss in the morning, so whoever this mysterious thief is, he apparently prefers to act at night. I'll deal with it, you can count on me. At night you take up a secluded position near the part of the infirmary where Cecilia and her men store medical supplies. At first nothing happens. However, around midnight you notice a suspicious figure sneaking around in the shadows. An unknown person sneaks up to the infirmary and starts fiddling with the lock, stealthily looking around and trying to remain unnoticed. In an effort to catch him red-handed, you wait until he opens the lock and goes in. You follow him inside and find him stuffing his bag with all kinds of medicine. When he sees your menacing figure, his eyes are immediately filled with genuine terror. However, when asked as to why he steals, he tells you a story for which you are not ready. According to the thief, he steals medicine not for himself, but for one of his comrades, who was seriously injured during a recent attempt to break into the city. He fought bravely and was butchered by the French during the fight. But now, instead of receiving full-fledged medical care, he has to lie on a simple mat and be content with prayers, since all the doctors and their resources go straight to the knights and their soldiers from among the wealthy. Now the poor man clings to life only thanks to the help of his friends, who bring him medicine from wherever possible. The thief begs you to let him go so he can help his friend. So I have an option here. I can take away what he stole and kick him out empty-handed, or I could let him keep the stolen goods. He's doing a wrong for possibly the right reason. He's trying to help save a life. Alright, we're going to let him keep the stolen goods. Moved by a story, you let him go with the stolen goods. My virtue is increased by 5. Mumbling words of gratitude, the hapless thief hurries to hide in the darkness, out of the darkness of the night, and you belatedly realize that you probably should have offered him your help in saving his friend. But at the same time, you know that you can hardly do much for the poor fellow, and perhaps you should not get involved in this already sad story. Of course I'm going to try to help the soldier. Having hesitated for a moment, you finally decide to offer your help to the soldier. But he has already run into the night, and you have no choice but to set off in pursuit. My luck check has passed. You manage to catch up with him after a while. At first you want to call out to him, but then you take notice of how strange he's behaving. For some reason, the thief goes towards the camp exit, trying to hide in the shadows. Reaching the edge of the English fortifications, the thief quietly gets out of the camp and runs for his life towards the city. Chasing him is now pointless, and shooting at such a target in pitch darkness is also clearly a hopeless task. All you can do is shrug your shoulders and go home with the knowledge that you just missed a French spy. My virtue lowered by 5. In the morning, Cecilia once again notices a mess in her supplies and realizes that you have not managed to stop the night thief. Furious, she attacks you with criticism. Your relationship with Cecilia has lowered by 15. Only when she finally cools down a little do you manage to tell her the details of the story. She seems to be confused at first, but then she suddenly bursts out laughing at how cleverly the mysterious thief had deceived you. All of her previous anger and irritations are gone. Guessing that the uninvited guest won't dare to visit her again, Cecilia draws a quiet, logical conclusion that you still dealt with the problem, albeit in a somewhat peculiar way. Your relationship with Cecilia has improved by 30. So I lost 15 and I gained 15 in total. So it's 15 positive for this whole spiel going this way. And now I'm going to talk to her one more time. And I'm going to offer my help. The knighthood obliges me to ask if I can help you with something. I am completely at your service. Oh, how sweet. Do I look that desperate to you? You were walking on thin ice, Sir Knight. However, I'm not going to lie. At the moment, I would really appreciate someone's help. How can I be of help? The fact is that during one of the recent moves, I lost my sword. Don't look at me like that. I understand that for a warrior, a sword means much more than just a sharpened piece of iron you can stab someone with. However, I'm not a warrior. I have a huge luggage full of much more important things than this piece of iron, from medicines and tools to autumn collections of the Venetian dresses. But what was I even talking about? We're right in the middle of a military campaign, and the French now regularly make sorties from the besieged city. Everyone around me is trying to assure me that I'm absolutely safe here, but I can hardly believe it, and the possibility of being in the thick of some battle without a weapon scares me a little. Obviously, I'm not going to participate in anything like this, and your military affairs do not concern me, but I will not be sincere if I say that I will not feel safer with a sword. I hope you understand exactly what I'm asking of you. Sure, I will get you a sword. I will get you the best sword in the whole royal army, I give you my word. I will be very grateful and will certainly return the favor. New quest added, Queen of Swords. Alright, so now we're done talking to the doctor. I am rested. So at this point, I'm going to try to take a trip out and do some scavenging. You get out of the camp and go to the surrounding forest to replenish your supplies, heading towards the unknown adventures lying ahead. During your walk through the forest, you come across a group of hunters from the local community. They turn out to be very friendly and even offer some valuable crossbow shooting tips as you hunt together. Luck check passed, crossbow skill increased by 1. And I get stuff. Stuff is always good. Making your way back, you suddenly find yourself right in the middle of some sort of hunting grounds. And only sheer luck saves you from stepping in a huge bear trap, which could have easily torn your leg right off. The rest of your way back goes smoothly without any more adventures. One of the knights arranges a training session for the militiamen, instructing them in various advanced weapon handling techniques and maneuvers. Weapon skill increased by 1. Okay, let's head to crafting, assemble some more stuff. Okay, we have got 3 medicines, 3 healing herbs, 4 pieces of leather. I think I'm gonna make another water skin. Oh, nice. And I'm going to... This is not the most efficient way, but I've got a fair amount of herbs, but not enough leather. Nice. Okay, I've got a ton of medicine. Alright, we're gonna leave it at that. Let's go to the chest. Want to free up some inventory space. So we're gonna throw the potent medicine into the chest. And I'll take this water skin and equip it just in case. Okay, I've freed up inventory. That'll work for now. Now I'm gonna do some training. I could go with vitality again. I will do. Alright, that got us up to 28 strength. One day you are unexpectedly called by a sergeant who asks you to help him with an important matter. You need to deliver water to one of the distant outposts covering the western part of the city. This direction is considered not particularly promising in terms of the siege. Moreover, there are no large gates, and therefore there is only one relatively small detachment. The problem, however, is that in the past few days the French made several sorties in that direction, and among other things, attacked one of the couriers delivering messages from the detachment. All this apparently is just a diversionary maneuver, and to transfer large forces to the western side of the city means to follow the French lead, weakening more promising directions. Thus, the western detachment will not get reinforcements. However, it is still necessary to supply it, and also maintain contact with it. Therefore, a reliable person is needed who can be assigned the role of a courier for a short time. Your task is to safely go to the western outpost and give them a letter with instructions from the command as well as a load of drinking water. The sergeant gives you the letter and tells you to come to him to get water later when you are ready. The luggage may turn out to be quite bulky, so it would be handy to pick up some kind of bag. However, the sergeant himself can give it to you as well. The sergeant also warns you that the road may not be the safest. However, he assures you that the surrounding territories are, at the very least, still patrolled. Therefore, in the event of a French attack, you would simply need to hold out before help arrives. New quest added, Waterboy. Okay, we're gonna rest one more time. And now we're gonna go talk to the sergeant about the Waterboy stuff. Take these canteens, I have a bag for you. If you can't carry them in your hands, you can fit everything in it. Gonna take a canteen, take a canteen, take a canteen. I'm not gonna take his bag because I do a lot of crafting. Because I do a lot of crafting, I'm gonna receive some flack for it. Evidently, they're gonna think that I'm profiting off the war because of my crafting, when I'm crafting medical stuff to keep myself alive, not really to make money. My crafting isn't really to make money. My looting is to make money, obviously. But they're going to get mad about my crafting, thinking that it's to make money, when it's not. When that's not what I'm doing it for. But anyway, I digress. If I take this bag, he's going to get uppity about it, because he's not going to give me the opportunity to return it to him. And when he confronts me about my crafting, he's going to bring up the fact that I took his bag. So I'm not going to take his bag, so I don't have to be accused of taking his bag, because I know he's going to get uppity about my crafting. Alright, so anyway, we've got the mission, so we're going to go and do the mission. Off to the western outpost we go. Your journey progresses calmly at first. It is bright and sunny day, and the forest around you seems tranquil enough. For once the atmosphere is quite relaxed, and with each step your horse takes, you submerged more and more into your own thoughts. Your father told you more than once, for the poor and low-born, war is a chance to get ahead, and if only by getting ahead of those who oppose you. You did not exactly end up here by your own choice, and so far, your utmost concerns has been your survival, while fame and fortune seem some wishful illusion beyond your reach. However, opportunities do present themselves from time to time, and one must be utterly blind to ignore these chances. Nothing good will come out of it if you bite off more than you can chew, though, as Grandma used to say, no point in rushing towards a prize head first if you could not keep that head on your shoulders. All of this, I don't quite remember this. This seems new. Just as you process that thought, a crossbow bolt sticks into a tree right in front of your face with a loud thud, followed by what sounds like heavy swearing in French. This part I remember, but it seems like stuff got added before this. Usually you get attacked by the crossbow bolt a little bit sooner, or I just haven't read it all in that long that I've just tuned it out. One or the other. Out of the corner of your eye, you see several figures approaching on foot. from different directions. Harboring no illusion of what's going on, you spur the horse to a gallop in hope of outrunning your pursuers. The terrain is rough, with small ravines and tree roots limiting the much-desired gallop to a weary trot. That is enough to keep some distance from your chasers, but they are persistent, and so far there is no real chance to leave them behind. Arrows and bolts whiz by you repeatedly, with each successful shot seemingly better aimed than the one before. By cleverly maneuvering between the trees, you manage to evade all of them. Coordination check passed. This can hardly be considered a success, as the disorderly chase draws you yet deeper into the wilderness, with vegetation growing increasingly dense and harder to pass through. Your pursuers are getting closer by the minute, and your chance of escape seems to slip away. So I could try to get away from the French on horseback, and I will actually succeed in that. However, I honestly want to dismount and accept an unfair fight, because I want to loot their stuff. Escape is futile. You dismount and stand your ground, ready for the fight. Though winded, your chasers are now barely 50 yards away. Hello, boys. Were you chasing me? Alright. He's got a shield. We're gonna go after this guy back here. The body hit should kill him. And he's actually starting winded. They're both starting winded. I'm starting fresh. One down. Crossbow bolts are always dangerous. The AI in melee in this situation, he could probably never hit me. I could stand here all day and he'll never hit me because my stats are so much better. But that crossbow bolt, that will hit me. Crossbow bolts are dangerous. You got to take anyone who has a crossbow as a serious threat. And you can check to see if they have a crossbow by pulling up their stuff here by clicking on their portrait. He has a crossbow. He's got several boats with a crossbow skill of 5. So this crossbow skill isn't that good, actually. But yeah, crossbow bolts tend to not miss. So don't take any chances when it comes to the crossbow. Alright, he's got a shield. I'm gonna go for the head to, well, make him dead. And he's dead. The fight is over, and I'm gonna loot. I get 2 rabbit's foots, huh? Lucky me. Once at the western output, you give its chief a letter with instructions from the command. The letter, however, is of little interest to anyone, and with much greater impatience, he and his people await the promised drinking water. 3 canteens handed over. When you pass them the flask, the clearly thirsty soldiers become very animated and seemingly very glad to see you. Reputation with the soldiers have improved by 15. Returning back with one of the cavalry detachments, you report to the sergeant on the completion of the task. Hearing about the French attack, the first thing he wonders about is the safety of the letter. After making sure it's okay, he praises you and promises to put in a word with the Earl. Reputation with the Earl improves by 5, and I get 50 florins. EXP for completing the quest plus 20. Alright, time to go sell the loot. Goodbye, rabbit's foots. Hello, money. Okay. Now, we're going to... Wait. We're going to check to make sure that we're rested. We're a little... Gamble one time. We lost 2 florins. That's fine. But we're fairly fresh right now. We're going to go back to the quest travel. And we are going to travel once again. We're going to go over to the De Lambert estate. Remember, she said that we could come by for our own reasons. So we're going to do just that. You again? I can't believe my guards didn't shoot you on sight. Someone's getting demoted, that's for sure. Well, I came for you. I came to visit you. Well, that's new. And what have I done to deserve such honor? Do not judge me too harshly. I just wanted to spend some time with you, if possible. It is possible. After all, what kind of hostess am I if I put guests who come with good intentions out the door? Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. I'm going to ask about the De Lambert estate. I noticed that your estate is living quite a busy life, even despite the war. This is true. Many local villagers took refuge here after the arrival of the English and the subsequent foraging raids. My people and I guarantee protection to all of the subjects of the De Lambert house and the French crown in general. Therefore, there are a lot of people who want to hide behind these walls. I see. And we also became the center of local commerce since Cambrai was cut off from the rest of the province. People need money, even during the war. Well, other materials needs are not going away either, of course. That means that almost everyone who needs to buy or sell something regularly drops by. Take a stroll through our market square on the way back. Maybe you'll find something useful to buy. Help out the locals with some extra coin. New quest added, benefactor. I certainly will. Marauders do not particularly disturb us here, and we feel relatively safe so far, but who knows what will happen next. And I'm going to ask about her father. You mentioned your father when we first met, something about him helping the French king raise an army. Your father has been fighting the English all his life, first in Scotland and then in Flanders, then somewhere else. I hardly saw him when I was a child because he was always on military campaigns, and each time he returned with new scars and wounds. I was afraid of him as a child. He seemed too rude and harsh to me. I didn't know what to do when I was around him. I didn't know what to talk to him about. My own affairs, problems, and worries seemed simply meaningless next to him. Would it be interesting to hear about my new dress for a person who has traveled around the world, crushed armies of many thousands, and concluded treaties that decided the fates of kings and kingdoms? This story could easily have come to a bad end. But as I grew up, we found a common ground. Looking at him, I learned to distinguish good from evil and truth from falsehood. I've learned a lot from him, including love for my own country. If the De Lambert estate had not turned into a shelter for the hundreds of refugees, the concern for the life and the safety of whom fell on my shoulders, then, make no mistake, I would have defended Cambrai with a sword in my hand. And I would be happy to die for my country, for my family, and for my king. And you, James? I'm ready to die for my country, as any soldier is supposed to be. Virtue increased by 5. I can see it in your eyes. There's some kind of fatalism behind them, stern and silent willingness to face anything that is brought down upon you, and then to emerge victorious from the fight with your fate, or to die, as befits a man. As befits a man. Even though you are fighting under a different banner, I cannot help but respect you for this. Relationship with Ava has improved by 10 points. And we're going to go trade. Okay. The combination of a utility knife and that belt I got earlier could allow me to accomplish something later down the line. So I'm going to grab this utility knife because it could come in handy. I'm also going to grab this antidote because it too could come in handy. And because the quest is to spend 150 bucks, I am going to grab this antiseptic bandage because it will be useful, and it should put me over the 150 mark. You seem to like our local products. I heard that you had become a regular at our market. Oh. You know, I just realized something. I have naughty pictures enabled in this game. Good thing this was not one of those times that the naughty picture popped up, or I would actually have to figure out how to edit my videos. I think I'm going to have to turn that off for this Let's Play. So I will be doing that soon, after I'm pretty sure we're safe to get through this episode. I hope you were not disappointed with your purchase, and thank you for your generosity. Thanks to you, a lot of locals were able to earn a living and make ends meet in these tough times. As odd as it may seem, we would have had a much harder time without you. Please accept my gratitude. EXP for completing the quest, plus 20. Alright, and now we're going to leave. Okay, and we have a civic talent now? We didn't have a civic... Alright, we got our civic talent. And we're going to spend that on Armor Smith. Okay, I'm going to equip this antiseptic bandage to free up room. I'm going to add this utility knife over here. So the utility knife can be used with the commoner's belt to create a bowstring. It is the bowstring, right? Yeah, it's the bowstring. And that will be useful for a quest later on. Also, I'm saving up for some other quests that are going to be later on. Pretty soon, actually, but later on. Alright. Back. What's next? Camp activities, camp position, trade. I'm going to check trade because I'm looking for something that didn't appear. So I'm going to talk to the sergeant. Ah, crap. Here we go. Oi, son. Come here for a second. I hear that lately you've been pretty busy setting up your little business here. Crafting all kinds of stuff and then selling it to everyone around you. Well, you heard half right. I've been crafting a lot of stuff, but I haven't been selling it to people around me. That's nice to hear. A good soldier ought to be cunning and resourceful, particularly when there are supply issues, which, as is often the case, are currently plenty. But what a good soldier should not do is profit at the expense of his comrades. I'm not doing that, which people say is kind of what you're doing. Some of the guys are even starting to get a little bit jealous. This annoys me, because I'm not doing this. I'm not profiting off of my crafting. Don't worry, lad. It's not too late to win us all over, and there's just the right opportunity to do so. As I've just said, the supply situation is rather dire, and my men's equipment is showing quite a bit of wear and tear. It's high time we began seeking replacements, if you know what I mean. You do know what I mean, right? Yes, I know what you mean. Of course, I'm always ready to help my comrades out. When a friend is in trouble and my name gets called, I'll fly there as fast as a crossbow bolt. Very nice, though I do hope you're better at crafting than you are at handling crossbows. Crossbow skill failed. Alright, it's nice to hear that we've got an understanding. Here's the deal. Get me a couple of leather sheaths and 2 pairs of boots. This order is ridiculous. The amount of leather that goes into making these things, and there's 2 sheaths and 2 boots. Just to make a boot is like 6 leather. To make 2 boots would be 12 leather. Then to make the 2 leather sheaths is another 10 leather. The game thinks I can pull 22 leather out of my ass in, let's just say, not a lot of time. This is almost an impossible mission to accomplish. But of decent quality, something that would last at least for a couple of months. I know you, craftsmen. Everybody is settled then. You owe me 2 scabbards and 2 pairs of boots. And we'll owe you our eternal gratitude. Once that's all done, of course. And now that you've demanded your favor, now I'm going to ask for my favor. You've proven yourself. I need men like you, preferably in one piece. If you ever need to get a hold of a specific piece of equipment, come see me. I'll see what can be done. Hopefully I don't need to explain that it won't be free. We'll work something out. I want armor. I'm hoping that he's going to get me some low quality chainmail so that I can accomplish that blacksmithing quest. We'll see. Come back after a short while. Okay. But odds are I'm not going to get what I need. And I will have spent 50 coins to get something that's probably not even worth 50 coins. Who knows? I might just have to turn around and sell it, because it probably won't be what I need. But we'll see. Can I do sparring yet? Your reputation amongst the soldiers is not high enough yet. Alright, I'll train vitality. Am I missing anything? Useful hobby. Impossible to do. I need to get her a sword. The Promise. Sparring Armor Smith. I'm not going to do the heist. That'll lower my virtue. Not that my virtue is probably very high right now. My virtue is at 0, which is actually surprisingly high. Your virtue gets really low in this game. So having a 0 virtue is actually pretty good. Yeah. We'll go back to training again. Is there anything I'm forgetting to do? No, there isn't. Okay. Alright, one more time. We'll go pray. And on to the next chapter. We got some fighting to do. At the appointed hour, the whole camp is set in motion, and your eyes are presented with a both great and terrifying spectacle. The volley of dozens of trebuchets and catapults, unleashing a relentless avalanche of boulders on the city, provide cover to the hordes of soldiers rushing towards the fortress walls. The whistle of arrows, the crash of projectiles, the beat of war drums, the howl of trumpets, and the scream of over 1,000 voices merge into a single deafening cacophony in which you can no longer tell any sounds apart. Being in the thick of the assault, you were minutes after the start of the attack can no longer distinguish separate sounds in this surrounding hum that echoes in your head. An endless rain of arrows and crossbow bolts pours on you from the city walls, only growing stronger the closer you get to the city. Injured and slain comrades are falling beside you left and right, but by some miracle you manage to not get hit by the arrows yourself. Agility check passed. When you finally get to the city walls, a hail of stone rains on you from above. One of the heavier stones lands directly on Bartholomew's helmet, barely 2 feet away from you. He falls to the ground as blood trickles down his face. Assisted by several other soldiers, you drag him away. The poor fellow, though still breathing, appears to be unconscious and could fall prey to enemy archers at any moment. If you leave him lying just like that, it would most likely be his death sentence. Luckily for him, the sergeant happens to be nearby and covers the injured with his shield. As you try to catch your breath, you look around for the ladder that should already be in place. Or that was the plan anyway, as there are nowhere to be seen. While you continue searching, trying to make sense of anything in the clouds of dust and smoke enveloping you, a chaotic fight ensues. Taking full advantage of the state of disarray, a group of enemy soldiers emerge from the haze and attacks your troop. Huh? Why is my health not full? I'm confused. Oh well. Limbs, for sure, wounding won't kill. Body, more than likely armor is going to deflect or block it. Head, pretty good chance I might get past the armor. Fairly decent chance I'm going to hit. Fairly decent chance he's going to block with his shield. His shield has 45 strength. This is a situation where it might make sense to split the shield. Or I can hope that the shield won't get in my way. I'm just gonna hope he doesn't block. And he's dead. And we're gonna recover. slightly better than 50% chance to kill him for sure. Limbs is a pretty sure I'm gonna cripple him. Head isn't looking as good of a target. I think I'm gonna go for the neck hit. This is kind of rolling the dice, but if I do hit, he is definitely dead. I will take his head right off. Off with his head. And you know what I'm gonna do. The daring sortie of the French fails to push you back from the walls. The attackers could not grind down your troops in time, and soon find themselves surrounded by the arriving reinforcements who overrun them. You get a short breather. Defenders keep throwing stones and shooting arrows at you, but the shower of missiles seem to be dwindling. The siege engines sing for their supper well enough, shattering the walls with every hit. With the arrival of reinforcements, the siege ladders finally make an appearance as well, and by Northampton's order they are immediately propped against the walls. In an attempt to encourage the men, the Earl promises a handsome reward as well as a double share of spoils to the first soldier who sets foot atop the walls. Despite his generous offer, your fellow militiamen seem to have little enthusiasm for the idea. I'm gonna go first, regardless of the risk, because I'm the hero. Risk be damned. Not willing to let the Earl down, you rush forward and lead the charge, climbing one of the ladders. Reputation with the Earl is increased by 5, and reputation with the soldiers is increased by 5. Any thought of wealth and glory fades away as more and more heavy stones fall from above. You evade the first projectile, but the next one is well aimed and heads straight towards your face. Without a shield, all you can do is use your hand for cover, which bears the brunt of the blow. Ouch. Judging by the sudden sharp pain, your hand has been seriously damaged by the impact. Still, you manage to stay on the ladder, health decreased by 5. Several of those who followed you are not as fortunate, however, losing their grip from the impact and knocking down other allies in the process. Their screams urge you forward, and a few moments later you set foot atop the wall. Several enemy soldiers attack you at once, and the only thing you can do now is defend yourself, hoping for reinforcements. Alright, boys, it's you and me. Gonna go for the body. He's dead. And we're gonna recover. We failed to recover, damn it. So we're gonna recover again. He succeeded in his feint, so we're going to recover again. Alright, head, 100% chance of hitting. 60% chance that we get past the armor, or an 85% chance of hitting the neck that doesn't have armor. Alright, we're gonna go with the neck. Off with his head, if he doesn't block with his shield. Head chopped off. And we're looting. Right in the heart of the battle, you spot a tall knight leading and cheering the French soldiers. Confidently wielding his halberd, he fights with such fury as if he intends to win the battle just by himself. Several of your comrades rush at him, but one by one they all fall dead from his heavy blows. I'm going to, of course, challenge the knight. This knight's actually fairly tough. Despite the fatigue and exhaustion, you remain clear-minded and are able to see that this is the exact moment that might decide the fate of the whole assault. The French, just like you, are standing on their last leg, and the death of the knight leading the defense cannot but topple their ranks. With these thoughts in mind, you take a step forward. You know what? Because our health is down a little bit, we're going to use one of these medicines. He's thankfully winded, and I'm thankfully winded. We're both winded. What are we looking at? I've got a very poor chance of hitting him because he's got a full stamina bar, and like I said, he's a skilled opponent. So none of these are looking very good. 0% chance of hitting his head, 0% chance of hitting his neck, only a 29% chance of hitting the body that is heavily armored. These aren't worth trying. So we need to come at this from a different angle. We could try a feint. We got a 50% chance of doing a check feint, which is kind of a roll of the dice. If we accomplish the check feint, he'll lose a little bit of fatigue, and it costs us a little bit of fatigue to make him lose a little bit of fatigue and possibly become blind for a turn. Or we could fail, and it really wouldn't affect us that much. Or there's one other option. We could maybe try to chop his armor, but again, we only have a 29% chance of hitting the body. So it seems like our best choice is probably to do a feint. 50-50. And we succeeded. And we blinded him. And he hit me while he was blind. And he reduced my strength by 1. Luckily, I have a lot of strength, so... Now we have a better chance of hitting him. So we got about almost a 50-50 chance of pretty much ending this right now. Or we could do something more conservative and try to damage his armor, his body armor. Typically you want to go with the conservative options in this game. I'm gonna try... he has regular mail. What is the durability on that regular mail? Okay, and we need to recover. Realizing that you may have bitten off more than you can swallow, you think to call out to your comrades for help. No, I can handle this. Ouch. Alright. So he's tired. I'm winded. He's pretty much used up his entire stamina pool, so he should be very easy to hit right now. And he has nothing on his head. I have a 93% chance of doing a seriously hard hit to his head. But he has 63 health. So I've got a 25 damage with an overhead strike. I've got about another 12 points on top of 25 would be 35, 37 plus my trinket. So I'll do about 40 damage right now. Ooh, I must have critted. But he managed to live through it, sadly. And we're going to recover. Alright, we got a chance to end this right here. How damaged did I do to the armor? Torso armor 3. Let's just go straight through his body armor. He's dead. To everyone's surprise, the Frenchman fails to quickly deal with you. Moreover, in the course of the fight, he himself again and again misses the blows, receiving one wound after another. The formidable knight, who until recently seemed invincible, falls dead to roaring jubilation of the English soldiers. Reputation with the soldiers has increased by 15. Reputation with the Earl increased by 5, and my virtue has increased by 10. The equipment of the defeated enemy becomes your reward. Knight's Chain. Ooh, torn padded chainmail. I might be able to accomplish that mission with that. Get. Knight's Chain we're definitely gonna get. So this gives weapon skill, and it gives virtue and prestige and agility and strength. I might actually swap out my damage trinket for this to get a little bit more weapon skill and to enjoy the extra strength and agility that I can get out of this, as well as the extra virtue. That's worth 60. Scabbards were 35, improvised shields were 20. Alright, so this and the scabbard. We're out of inventory space. The death of a knight really makes the French quail. However, at the most decisive moment, luck suddenly turns away from you as reinforcements hurry to aid the crumbling enemy troops. The English, exhausted and barely standing on their feet, have no choice but to retreat. Those closer to the stairs and the siege towers hurriedly descend while others are trying to slow down the French advance and cover the retreat. You are one of the last to leave the wall, securing the title of one of the main heroes of today's battle. On the way back to the camp, the sergeant, who had witnessed your acts of bravery, promises to put in a good word for you with the Earl, who offered a reward to anyone who would show courage during the assault. At the camp, it became evident that all attempts to take the town end with the very same result. English troops attacked the walls from several directions simultaneously, which was supposed to disperse the defending forces, but none of the attacking parties managed to achieve a decisive breakthrough. Heavy fighting took place at several sections of the wall at once. Some watchtowers were captured, but none of the attacks could build further success. At the camp, you see disgruntled knights and lords, as well as hordes of injured soldiers, while the smoking but yet impregnable town walls dominate the background. You can't shake the thought that you may be stuck here for some time. Chapter 2, Going Nowhere Slow, City of Cambrai, Low Countries. After the disastrous, almost catastrophic assault, the entire camp plunges into licking its wounds. Almost all units in the Royal Army suffered substantial losses. Your squad is no exception. This battle has cost you more than a dozen men dead or wounded. Among the badly wounded is your friend Bartholomew, who was first hit by a stone thrown from the wall, when he took an arrow to the knee and lost much blood. Once the inglorious assault is over, you waste no time and promptly help bring him to Cecilia. After seeing the distress in your eyes, she agrees to tend to Bartholomew, despite being overwhelmed by the amount of other wounded. Bartholomew's condition is rather grave, and she promises no miracles. Cecilia grants you she will do her utmost, but does emphasize now is not the time for unbridled optimism. Nonetheless, let us get back to the events of a bigger scale. The king, who is cross as two sticks, is rumored to have cast all the blame upon the lords and their uncoordinated actions, who did not bother with mutual support and simply sought an opportunity to capitalize on the other's success so as to pop up in the right place at the right time and take all the credit. As a result, the most battle-worthy and elite troops have wasted most of their time waiting for the right moment to arrive at the tipping point of the battle. Such indecisiveness has cost several missed opportunities, including the foothold that you were able to acquire at one of the walls. Now the king and his inner circle delve into planning another, more elaborate attempt to take Cambrai, leaving nothing to chance and someone's self-will. The Earl and the Prince, eager to prove themselves before the king, delve into laying out a cunning plan to penetrate the town walls. You have received a salary in accordance with your rank of 55 florins. You received a bonus payment in accordance with your prestige level of 87 florins. And this is likely where we're going to wrap up this episode, especially seeing as I need to change the naughty pictures before something bad happens. Evidently, my love for pillaging corpses has caused me to pick up a contagious disease. My toxicity has increased. Anyway, that's where we're going to wrap up this episode. I am James Johnson, aka Sulphurblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please smash that like button, consider subscribing, and until the next time all, peace.